Chairman Ginter, Ranking Member House, and members of the Ohio House Community and Family Advancement Committee. It is my honor to present to you today sponsored testimony on House Bill 69, the Fetal Heartbeat Protection Act. It is a shared vision of Representatives Hood and I to honor the work of Dr. John Wilkie, a man who dedicated his life's work to defending the most vulnerable of our population with this bill, and to allow his legacy to come to fruition. As Ohio continues to lead in many areas, ultimately aiming to improve the quality of life for Ohioans in any way that we can, we have also worked diligently to defend the lives of the unborn. Needless to say, this is an issue that is robust with passion, compassion, and the potential to save many lives of the unborn. When I was first appointed, it was only within weeks of my very first day as a state legislator that I was asked to cast a vote on some of the most controversial issues faced in many decades. As I was wading through my own desire to play it safe, or do the work that God had sent me to do, my father left a torn sheet of yellow legal paper on the dash of my car that read, "Cautious, careful people always casting about to preserve their reputation and social standing can never effect a reform. Susan B. Anthony." Forever scored into my memory will be the words of a woman who is a leading and tireless advocate for a woman's right to vote. In a time when women's so-called rights are being challenged, I beg you to revisit history and those who gave everything so that women like myself could have equal standing in the House of Representatives. I'm thankful for those who have led before me because it makes my decisions on difficult issues much clearer as to the choices that I have to make are simple in comparison to the wars that have waged before me. What we know. According to the World Health Organization, in the United States of America, there are over 3,000 abortions per day. 22% of all pregnancies in the United States, excluding miscarriages, end in abortion. Needless to say, I feel deeply convicted and called to action. If any other cause of death had numbers that were this sobering, the legislature would halt all of their activity to focus on the epidemic at hand. We know that the majority of these abortions are occurring when the unborn human individual has a beating heart. The heart and fetal circulation. Heart development. The heart rises from a little group of special cells located in the embryological region, which will become the chest. During the first 4 weeks of pregnancy, these cells grow until they form a tube called the primitive heart tube. It is constituted of 4 segments: the sinoatrium, which forms the atria, the primitive ventricle, which forms the left ventricle, the heart valve, which forms the right ventricle, and the truncus aorteus, which forms the aorta and the pulmonary artery. In the primitive heart tube, the blood arrives in the sinoatrium, traveling through the tube and going out through the truncus aorteosus. And I apologize if my pronunciation is off. During the next step, the primitive heart tube coils up and handle, giving 2 atria and 2 ventricles. The right atrium connects to the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. Left atrium connects to the left ventricle through the mitral valve. Contemporaneously are formed the atrial and the ventricular spectrum. The truncus aorteus branches into aorta and pulmonary artery, which connect respectively to the left and right ventricle. At 10 weeks, the heart is completely formed and functional, and during the rest of the pregnancy, it will grow to supply the demand of the developing fetus. Starting at 5 weeks, the fetal heart will accelerate at a rate of 3.3 beats per day for the next month. The fetal heart begins to beat at approximately the same rate as the mother's, which is 80 to 85 beats per minute. Below illustrates the approximate fetal heart rate for weeks 5 through 9, assuming a starting rate of 80. At week 9, the fetal heartbeat tends to beat within the range of 155 to 195 BPM. The fetal heart rate will begin to decrease and generally will fall within the range of 120 to 160 BPM by week 12.